You are already dying. Right now, in this moment, time is being subtracted from you. And most people spend that diminishing remainder pretending otherwise. The ancient Roman philosopher Seneca called this the greatest self-deception a human being can commit. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how Seneca dismantled the fear of death and why that single philosophical shift has the power to transform every choice you make while you are still alive. Lucius Annaeus Seneca was born around 4 BC in Cordoba, a Roman province of Spain, into a wealthy equestrian family. He was brought to Rome as a child, educated in rhetoric and philosophy, and eventually rose to become one of the most powerful advisors in the entire empire. He tutored the young Nero, wrote letters that would outlast empires, and navigated a political world where alliances shifted like smoke. He understood mortality, not as theory, but as lived threat. Seneca survived exile under Emperor Claudius, was banished to the island of Corsica for 8 years on charges that may well have been fabricated. He watched friends disappear into political disgrace. He suffered from chronic respiratory illness his entire life, asthma that he described as rehearsals for dying. Every breath was uncertain. He did not encounter the fear of death in a philosopher's comfortable armchair. He encountered it in the chest, in the night, in the silence of imposed isolation. In his letters to Lucilius, Seneca writes something that strikes like cold water. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. This is not pessimism. This is a call to radical presence. Seneca understood that the fear of death is not actually a fear of an event. It is a fear of incompleteness, a terror that you have not yet become what you were meant to become. The solution is not to stop dying. It is to start living. Seneca drew a distinction that most modern people never encounter: the difference between time that is lived and time that is merely passed. He wrote that we are not given a short life. We are given a sufficient life that we waste. People surrender their hours to meaningless noise, to the expectations of others, to pleasures that leave nothing behind. The fear of death, Seneca argued, is simply the recognition, arriving too late, that you gave your life to things that did not deserve it. Central to Seneca's philosophy is the practice called meditatio mortis, the meditation on death. He insisted that a person must hold death near, not as something morbid, but as something clarifying. When you carry the awareness of your finitude throughout the day, trivial anxieties lose their weight. A delayed letter, a social slight, a professional failure, these dissolve against the larger truth. Seneca wrote, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." Death is not the enemy. Forgetting death is the enemy. Seneca also confronted something modern psychology has only recently named: anticipatory grief. The suffering we create by imagining future losses before they occur. He wrote that we torture ourselves twice, once when the feared thing happens, and once in every moment we spend dreading it. Fear of death is not a single event of terror. It is a tax paid daily on a debt that has not yet come due. Seneca's antidote was not courage in the conventional sense. It was philosophical clarity about what is actually real. There is a passage in Seneca's essay on the shortness of life that cuts to the bone. He observes that people carefully guard their property, their money, their possessions, but hand over their time to anyone who asks for it. The fear of death, he argues, is partly a lie we tell ourselves. We say we fear losing our life, but we act as though life is already worthless by surrendering it carelessly. True respect for life means protecting your hours with the same ferocity you would protect your home from fire. Seneca believed the fear of death is also deeply connected to the fear of pain, and he separated these ruthlessly. Death itself, he argued, is not an experience. It cannot be suffered. What people truly fear is the process of dying, the vulnerability, the loss of control. This distinction is not semantic, it is liberating. If death cannot be felt, then death cannot truly be feared. What remains to be addressed is the quality of how we live and how we endure whatever precedes the end with dignity and reason. He also wrote, and this is perhaps his most unsettling insight, that the time before our birth did not torment us. We did not suffer the millennia of non-existence before we arrived. Why then, he asked, should the time after our death be a source of terror? He called this the symmetry argument, and it remains one of philosophy's most elegant confrontations with existential fear. Before you were born, the universe continued without you. After you die, it will do so again. And between those two silences, there is this. Seneca wrote from his final years that facing death honestly had freed him from something he had not known was a cage. The constant low hum of dread that most people carry, the unnamed anxiety that something terrible approaches, began to dissolve when he looked directly at what he feared. This is the counterintuitive gift of the Stoic practice. The thing you avoid examining grows larger in darkness, but when you hold it to the light, you discover it has less mass than the shadow it casts. So how does one actually apply this? Seneca's practice begins with a daily exercise he described as evening reflection. Before sleep, ask yourself 3 things. What did I waste today? What did I give away that I will not recover? What was I too afraid to begin? This is not punishment. It is inventory. A merchant who never counts his stock will always be surprised when it runs out. You are the merchant. The currency is time. The inventory, taken honestly every night, rewires how you spend the following day. The second practice Seneca recommends is what scholars have called negative visualization, but Seneca called it preparation. Before an important day, briefly imagine it does not go as hoped. Before you leave someone you love, let yourself acknowledge that this could be the last time. Not to induce sadness, but to induce presence. Grief arrives whether or not you prepare for it. But if you have already sat with the possibility of loss, you will have spent more of your actual time in genuine appreciation, rather than distracted assumption. The third application is the most demanding: voluntary simplicity as a reminder. Seneca periodically chose to live for short periods as if he had very little: simple food, plain clothing, reduced comfort. Not as penance, but as proof. He wanted to demonstrate to himself that he could endure the worst he feared. Once he had, the fear lost its leverage. This practice is available to anyone. You do not need a philosophy degree. You need the willingness to sit with discomfort long enough to discover it is survivable. In 65 AD, Emperor Nero ordered Seneca to take his own life, accusing him of involvement in a political conspiracy. Witnesses recorded that Seneca faced this final moment with extraordinary composure. He consoled those weeping around him. He spoke calmly about the ideas he had written about for decades. He had not merely thought about death his entire life, he had rehearsed it in his philosophy until it held no more terror. His death was not the failure of his life. It was, in a terrible and profound way, the proof of it.
Here is what Seneca understood that most people never will. The fear of death is not a problem to be solved on your deathbed. It is solved, or it is not, in the 1,000 ordinary days before that. Every hour you live deliberately, every fear you examine instead of fleeing, every moment of honest presence is a step toward the kind of death Seneca described. Not a catastrophe, but a completion. You were promised a shift in perspective. Here it is. The life you stop fearing to lose is the life you finally begin to live.